Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting the session in a few seconds. So today we have with us our chair, which is Dr. Noriko Toema from HIS. He is the Deputy Director of Policies Against Marine Plastic Pollution. So, welcome, ma'am. And now we will be starting with our first presentation, which is paper number A294. A294.
Give the guidelines to the chair and always all the time. Just repeat it once to them.
So, every paper presenter will get 10 minutes to present their paper. We will be indicating with a time card when 8 minutes are over. And then after that, you need to conclude the session in the next 2 minutes.
Then you put the chat also for online presenters.
For online presenters, we'll be presenting the guidelines. We'll be putting it in the chat box. You guys can refer to that.
So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to having this session in ICON Solid Waste Management. So we have our chair, Miss Dr. Noriko Tamiya. I can see her on the screen. So, and let me check others. So can I check Chocho from IGS? If you are there, please open your...
I'm here. Thank you, Kumara.
Okay. So then we have the Dr. Wu Dinh Heu from Vietnam.
Yes, we here.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So then we have Miss Bopa from Cambodia. Okay, excellent. So then we have Dr. Ruben from the OECD. Thanks, Ruben, join with us. So then we have okay, my colleagues Yagasa with us. So I can find all our speakers are online. So then please let me start the session. So giving first to our chair, Dr. Noriko, to give a brief introduction to the session.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating in this session. I'm Tamiya Hase from Ministry of the Environment, Japan, and I'm happy to welcome all of you here, even via online. And first, I'd like to thank you, especially International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, ISWMAW, and the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, IGES, for organizing this session. And as an introductory remark, I'd like to briefly introduce Japan's action against marine litter and plastic pollution. And can I ask the Secretariat or Yagasa-san to show my presentation slide?
Yes, I will be sharing this slide, but I would like to request Secretariat to unlock the restriction because I cannot share the slides for some reason. Oh, it's good now. Okay.
Thank you very much. So then, yeah, next slide, please. Number 2. So as for the legal framework, we have 2 laws specifically target plastics. One is for coastal environmental protection called the Act on Promoting the Treatment of Marine Debris. And in its amendment in 2018, issue of microplastics is mentioned explicitly in the provisions. And the second is on circularity of plastics by strengthening 3R. And it has been enforced in 2022, just last year. In addition, we also have several laws on waste management and specifically Marine Environment Act on Prevention of Marine Pollution and the Maritime Disaster to regulate illegal ocean dumping. And within the frameworks for the measures, we think that science-based approach is one of the most important principles. And as for the scientific knowledge, there are various areas. One is monitoring of plastics in the environment and its data harmonization. And those data is used for developing the inventory of plastic leakage and bioecological risk assessment, which will be one of the discussion topics of today's session. Next slide, please. And for the monitoring or research of litters, including plastics, we have developed several guidelines. One of the objectives is for promoting research work by the local governments. This is because we believe that the plastics is close to our life. So to understand the issue of at local level is very important. And local action is also one of the topics for today's session. We also developed the international guidelines shown in the right-hand side. The yellow one is for monitoring of ocean surface microplastics monitoring, and which was issued in 2019. And the next slide, please. As a background of the development of these guidelines, in 2019, we hosted an international workshop as follow-up event of G20 Osaka Summit, and it talked about the scientific knowledge necessary for solving issues of marine plastic litters. And one area is harmonized monitoring data and its completion. And at this workshop, Japan committed to play an important role in this area and have developed the harmonized guidelines. Researchers of all over the world have been involved in the process, and now we are constructing a database to compile the data collection in line with the guidelines. And the next slide, please. And this kind of harmonization is necessary not only for ocean surface microplastics, but for the other areas too, like beach litter, seafloor, and for macroplastics too. So to have a more comprehensive discussion of harmonization of monitoring, we hosted the international workshop in August. And what we aimed at this workshop is to support global data harmonization through metadata identification. Metadata is a kind of common language among the monitoring community. And next slide, please. The most intensive discussion was on the metadata identification in the areas of ocean surface and microplastics monitoring. And this is the result of discussion, and those items listed here were identified as possible metadata items or global common reporting items for the research of ocean surface microplastics. And next slide, please. And the list of metadata items agreed by the experts is aimed to be used for common language to link the existing several similar databases. And for the microplastics, we have one database by Ministry of Environment Japan, and the other, like one is by NOAA in the United States, and one by ISWMAW in EU. And if we can link the metadata items and the data set of each database, then through an internet technology, we can realize a federated management system at one interface. So this is in our idea of harmonization of data. And next slide, please. An importance of harmonized monitoring or data collection was also a part of discussion at INC 3 of Plastic Treaty, which was just held in this November. And this is an outline of zero draft prepared by the INC chair, and still a preliminary stage of document, but an importance or necessity of monitoring or collecting data on plastic leakage in the environment are mentioned in several provisions, highlighted in green. And for today's session, I believe OECD will also talk about the regional state and trends of the plastic pollution. And those data will be a foundation of policy making, including national action plan, which is an overarching theme for today's session. And in zero draft, we have dedicated provision for that national plan. Next slide, please. And this year we hosted G7 and come up with an ambitious communique. And back in 4 years, in 2019, we hosted the G20 summit and shared Osaka Blue Ocean Vision. And every year since then, we have been publishing the G20 report on actions against marine plastic litter together with the G20 host country, and this year together with India. And next slide, please. The left-hand side of this slide is the contents of the G20 report of this year. And the right-hand side is an excerpt from the zero draft on national plan. And both cover whole life cycle of plastics, from upstream, circled in red, and downstream measures are circled in blue color. And we believe that this G20 report will be a good foundation for national plan under the plastic treaty. And in today's session, IGES will talk about this G20 report more. And lastly, for this session, we would appreciate your active discussion on the countermeasures against the marine leaders and plastic pollution from various aspects. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Noriko, for giving us a comprehensive introduction to the sessions. So this is really helpful. So as Dr. Noriko mentioned, so this session is jointly organized by the International Solid Waste Management and Waste Associations and the MOJ Japan and IGS. So we are focusing on the marine litter and microplastic in Asia Pacific region, especially giving emphasis to the national and local actions. This is for that actually this as Dr. Noriko mentions very important. So this science-based decision making in making these national action plans. So thank you very much for us to giving this introduction. So then I would like to go to the presentations. We have a number of presentations in today list up. Some are covering scientific evidence, some are covering some national level action, some are covering local level action. I think we have very broader cross-cutting themes in today's discussions. I hope that we can have a little time for the discussions also. For that, I would like to ask our speakers to keep your presentations minimum 10 minutes because otherwise we don't have much time to any discussion. So in that advice, I would like to invite the first speaker for today with us. So Dr. Jotamas Kaiwak, she's a lecturer and head of the program Environmental Engineering and Disaster Management in the Mahidol University, Thailand. So she will discuss us with her studies environmental risk assessment of microplastic in the Chai River Basin. So Dr. Jotamas, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So let me share the screen. So thank you very much for the introduction. So today I'm going to talk about the environmental risk assessment on microplastic in river basin in Thailand. Yeah. So. Okay, so we are talking about all this topic because we concern very much about marine, right? So as we already know that we produce a lot of plastic each year, and whatever happen on land, it will end up in the ocean. So there's a lot of microplastic already existing in the water, also in the air and in the soil, in every media, environmental media. So this let me lead you to the area that I'm doing the research. I am doing the research in Chi River Basin. This one is the longest river in Thailand, located in the northeastern part of the country. As you can see from the map here, is in the little small orange color. And this river basin is also connected to Mekong River and meet the ocean in Vietnam. And so this river has a very long, it's about 830 kilometers long. It's the longest in Thailand. And is the people who live in that river basin is about 6 million people. And that people use water, like rely on the water because there is a protein source. They get fish from there, Also for water supply system as well, there are 17 provincial water supply system along that take water from Chi River Basin. And also the municipal waste and wastewater also polluted the river as well, as long as agricultural waste like crops and fertilizers. Also some industrial wastewater in the upper river as well. And this is the image of how it's contaminated by wastewater. And yeah, it's going down to Mekong River. And my research is divided into two parts. The first part is in upper river. In the upper river, since there's a lot of biodiversity, so we kind of compare the contamination of microplastic in water and in sediment and comparing with the accumulation in arthropod sample. So these are the sites that we took sample. So this is the first upper level, but in the lower level of the Chi, I will talk later in this presentation as well. So let's get to the point. And the concentration of microplastic in water and in sediment, as you can see from the graph, in the water is shown in blue color, and in the sediment is shown in gray color. So in the water, you can see that as we go downstream, we see more accumulation of microplastic than in the upstream. Of course, because it carry microplastic from human activity from the top to to the last station, and then it's being accumulated, and then it will be like accumulated everything in the downstream. And but in the sediment, it tend to, as far as we went to the site, we see that the microplastic contaminated in the sediment, it tend to stay there at the site that there is the human activity. Like in CW5, we found a lot of it's a big urban area. So we found high contamination of microplastic in the sediment. And this is the arthropod species. You can see that the microbiome, which is shrimp, is most vulnerable because we found a lot of microplastic that contaminated in their body, as much as 8 pieces of microplastic per one microbiome. Also, Cyphrodema as well, similar thing happened because they live in this environment that has a lot of microplastic, and their body can consume a lot of microplastic through their eating behavior. And these are the picture of microplastic that we found in the environment. And if we look at deeper into microplastic, we will see that there's a lot of fiber that contaminated in the river. Part of this is because it comes with the wastewater. Some of them are not treated well. Some of them is treated, but still, still suspend in the effluent water. So finally, it reached to the environment, and then it's accumulated in the river. Also, it could be from the waste as well, because from the next slide, you can see that polypropylene, this is a result that show types of polymer in microplastic. We found PVC, we found PP, we found PE, we found acetate fiber, and we found polyester. Most of them are polypropylene that also come from single-use plastic as well. So we kind of trying to understand that part of microplastic that contaminated in water, in sediment, and in arthropods probably also come from mismanagement of waste and also overuse of single-use plastic products. And once it contaminated in the water, it remain there and it break down from bigger part to smaller size as microplastic, and then consumed by an arthropod. And probably, when it's in arthropod, it's confirmed that it will be in fishes as well, as many research has already also reported. So for the next part, the research was done in the lower Chi River. We did not do the same thing because in the lower Chi River, it's already contaminated. Those kind of arthropods cannot really live, cannot have like a lot of biodiversity. So we check these what is it risks to the environment instead. So this is the sampling site. We sampling from next to the upper level upper river to the downstream. So you can see different in land use in different color here. Most of them are agricultural land and some urban area communities. So this is the microplastic contamination in the sediment and in the water. It shows similar thing. So if you go downstream, it tends to have more microplastic contaminated in water than in the sediment. But in the sediment at C7 is big community that doesn't have proper wastewater treatment plan and also waste management system. So it's high accumulation of microplastic in the sediment at that point. And then we also check polymer types of microplastic as well. As not surprisingly, we see the same thing. We see polypropylene is the main dominant of polymer types of microplastic there. And we also found some PVC and PET as well, but we found more PVC in sediment than in the water because PVC usually has higher density than water, so it tends to sink in the sediment and remain there. So next we use index to analyze pollution loading rate of each site. We can see that the loading in the environment is more and more in the water if we go downstream because everything is like accumulated and then it contaminated water downstream more than upstream. And for the sediment is like I have said earlier that it tends to sink at the site that there is like leakage or there is pollution load a lot. Like here in the red color there is a very big community, large community there, and then don't have proper wastewater treatment plan and doesn't have proper waste management strategy. So it's a lot of microplastic found, and then it has high pollution loading rate here. And then we did this hazard index level. The red color, the circle in red, it shows hazard category 5, and the orange one is to hazard category 4. Category 5 is more toxic than category 4. This is according to study of Littner in 2011. It showed that in the red color, it can impact to germ cell mutagenicity. It can cause skin sensitization, and it can cause acute toxicity and a lot more harm to the aquatic environment and also to human. This is because of the chemical that used as monomer that fall into category 5 are mostly phenol formaldehyde resin, unsaturated polyester, polycarbonate, polymethyl methacrylate, for example. So they also phthalate in PVC, for example. So in the water, there's a lot of like high potential of having hazard category 5 contaminated in water due to microplastic. And in the sediment, it happened at the site that there is like a lot of loading to the environment, as you can see from the biggest circle there. And this one is the risk to the ecosystem. Yeah. For the risk to the ecosystem, we can only identify in the sediment because in the water, it doesn't stay there. The toxicity, it go with the water, so we can only measure this toxicity to the ecosystem in the sediment. So we put this, concentration of each polymer and the site. So finally we could see that in almost every site that we took sample, it has extremely high risk to the ecosystem in the sediment. So it means animals there, the biodiversity there, the living thing in the sediment at this site are facing risks in terms of toxic from the monomer that included in the plastic production. So policymakers should consider this ecological risk for microplastic in the sediment along this river and also for the surface water. And we should put this strict regulation to stop producing toxic substances and to make, waste management and wastewater management more effectively. So to protect our environment as well as to protect our health. So yeah, and one more thing is that I'm also doing this similar thing in landfill, and we found a lot of toxic substances as well, and also in agricultural area around landfill, but I don't have the result to show here yet. So let me finish my presentation here. If you have any questions, we can talk later after the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chutamas, for sharing your research activities and some findings in the microplastic analysis. So if anyone have any quick question or clarifications, we can get one or two if anyone have from the audience or from the online participants to clarify. So I can see Professor Ghosh has joined with us. So welcome, Professor Ghosh. So can you have a few words? Because I saw you are the one of the chairs.
Let this question answer of this paper is over, then I can.
Okay, good. So,
can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. And this and the results of the microplastic along with from the source to the downstream, it is not consistently increasing. Actually, I see it increasing. Now, how do you explain? Because if the microplastic is flowing downstream, how come it's also decreasing? Is it diluted with some other water coming from other sources? Can you explain this?
I cannot really hear. I cannot catch your word. I'm sorry.
Professor Agag, can you speak without this mic? I feel your room have quite good connection rather than the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, what I'm asking is how come the microplastic along the river is not consistent or cannot increasing as it go down? Because at the end of the day, the microplastic is flowing downwards. Some places it's increasing, some places it's decreasing. So how do you explain that? Does it mean that the decrease is caused by some dilution factor, some other river coming in? How do you explain?
So, Dr. Chutamas, how you understand the question?
I'm not sure. Kumara, can you explain to me?
Yeah, so the chat box. Asking because I'm doing a similar project in place. The second hour and we had 5 students a lot of people. It doesn't mean that we go downstream, it's not like that. It's actually quite consistent. That's all because good already.
Kumara-san, sorry to interrupt. I think maybe we can have the question later, and now we can ask some of the audience.
So, yes,
type
please.
question in the chat box, and then Dr. Chutamas can actually respond later.
Yes. So can you put the questions to the chat box, because the communication from the audience and us, it's not much clear. We cannot clearly hear you, Professor Aga. If you can add it into the chat box, so we will take it later. So thank you very much. So Professor Ghosh, want to say something before we go into the next presentation?
So in fact, you know that the session marine littering and microplastics in Asia, the Pacific region, in ASEAN countries, there are a lot of work which are being carried out. Each of the countries, they are making the action plan to reduce the marine debris. And I'm very happy to say that IGES is doing significant work in this particular process. And I'm also very happy that this session is supported by the Ministry of Environment, Japan. And there are many countries who are participating in this discussion, like Vietnam, Cambodia. I don't know whether Myanmar was there ultimately or not. No. Okay, but other countries are there. So this will be a good learning for all of us, because you know that in India, we have a very big length of seashore. And plastics in marine environment, it's not very easy to assess that how much is the quantity. And it is also not very easy to assess that whether it is increasing or decreasing, because the quantum or the assessment of the quantity of the plastics in the marine environment, there is no very effective measurement system, which is very much reliable, is existing in the world today. There are many scientists who are working on it. So this is a good scope for all of you, the researchers specifically. You can explore the possibility of the methodologies by which you can measure the quantum of plastics or marine plastics in the environment and also marine environment. So I'm very happy that this session is mainly coordinated by Choche. She is a very active lady in IGES, and chaired by our friend Dr. Prema Kumara. We have been doing collaborative work for the last couple of years, and everywhere you will find some presentation or some intervention in our international. And Prema Kumara was scheduled to come here in physical form, but somehow we had some work, so he could not come. But I congratulate all the people and thank you all that you are making this session very vibrant. And this is really an educational session for all of us throughout the world. So thank you very much, and thanks Dr. Prema Kumara, Choche, and the Ministry of Environment Japan, and all other friends who are joining with us online. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Professor Ghosh. So, okay, so let me go to the next presentation because of the time limitation. So I will ask again, everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please put into the chat box. So I will take them time to time. So next, I would like to invite our Vice Mayor from the Deputy Mayor from the Nakhon Si Thammarat municipality in Thailand to share their city action plan and local initiatives in addressing the plastic pollution. So, Deputy Mayor, the mic is for you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me in this special session. On behalf of the Mayor of Nakhon Si Thammarat municipality, first of all, I would like to introduce my town first. The municipality is situated in Nakhon Si Thammarat province. It is in the south of Thailand and found more than 1,000 years ago The municipality known as Nakhon, with its prospers as the educational and cultural capital of southern Thailand. Our long history reflects in various aspects, such as religious ceremonies, architecture, and pagodas, with significant archaeological sites around Nakhon. We have taken delicate steps towards urban development to harmonize a balanced combination of prestigious history and remarkable urbanization. Listening to the people, enhancing public participation is our core value. The implementation of all city projects on a people-centric strategy. The city government has set the quality of life of its citizens as the top priority for the urbanization of the city. One huge challenge for the city is how to manage solid waste in general and plastic pollution. Previously, inefficient public service on this matter was noticed. Nakhon had been chosen to write a closing the loop report by a team of UNSCAP in collaboration with Division of Public Health and Environment of our municipality. Many recommendations were in the report. Soon after the city received the report, we transformed from the conclusion and recommendations suddenly by introducing such project into our local government action plan with 5 project people approval as follows. Number 1, Billless project. Billless project or no waste container project. Number 2, campaigns of cleanliness in all municipal public area project. Number 3, local volunteer saving the world project. Number 4, 3R waste management project. And number 5, last one, worth buying market development project. To overcome obstacles, the city took a bold step forward by introducing the Billless program on no waste container in the city. Nakhon encourages people participation to solve city problem together without spending any budget. But commitment with our people is the key success. People might not be understand what we have been doing. However, their eyes could see that our city is much cleaner and nicer. We started this project in a short distance street by walking and knocking all the households' doors on that road to invite them to a meeting with the city. Such discussion was briefly exchanged between people and the city in order to achieve a target of the Billless program. As a matter of fact, all of them knew that when waste containers were on side roads, all of them can throw garbage in the container for 24 hours whenever they wanted. And with that reason, those containers were full of garbage all the times. Where we throw the garbage, that the question they ask in every meeting. So what I have done, I tell them, but actually I answer to them by introducing alternative ways for them. First, put in a bag in front of your house with your scheduled time. 2, set up a waste collection point at certain time. 3, provide a big container in time period of a few hours each day. 4, check-in point by a garbage truck that parking on time. The first meeting I had with all stakeholders, they chose number 1, we just put in a bag in front of their house. So at this stage, you can see that the city had been hardly trying to reach the goal of good management. Many waste containers were taken off, with the city must improve our workers' efficiency. Workers at all levels must be responsible for their duties. So no waste waiting for collection. Most of waste would be properly collected on time. No need for waste to be long stored next to the containers since the city's workers carry on duty. Over 100 meetings in the last 2 years have been done, and the project continuously expanding with success. Behavior change then, both people and workers, and there is no more waste container on the main roads in the town. Currently, it was also not a people in Nakhon dumping waste, but residents and business shops outside of the town and the other districts also bring their waste to the city and dumping into our container in town. The city has improved storage containers by talking with stakeholders in the area. We go down to the grassroots in order to ask and listen from them. Moreover, in the wake of the smart cities transformation in the last 2 years, the e-service platform has already positioned itself as a model for other cities to emulate. Our smart city project is the winner of Thailand Smart City in the year 2022 and the winner of Best Participation Award from the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport of Korea. This platform provides services of the city, including a request of waste container replacement. Quality of existing waste containers have been improved. Old and damaged waste containers have been replaced by because people connect to the city service easily. We also tackle big waste producer, both public and private sectors. In public sector, the city has requested cooperation from many government offices in town to follow our instruction by telling them we collected waste on time. More difficult with private sector. They were previously throwing all their waste on the side road too. Could you imagine that? Our business enterprise put their garbage in poorly maintained containers. So all day long you could see this city with full of garbage. The city had tried to communicate with them. Please throw your stuff in the garbage trucks at the check-in point around the city, or please come and discuss with us how to manage your garbage. Markets, department stores, hotels, car dealers, the banks and others are coming to talk to us. There were also many small unattended garbage piles everywhere in the city previously, and it was a major problem of our town. We already destroyed them all now and place signboards alerting polluters on fines. The city created an idea of large waste collection free of charge directly from houses. We understood that people with relative low incomes might not be able to bring their large waste to a landfill. They would illegally throw old television, sofa, mattress, and other big things to the canals or the other unattended private land owner, or even on a public silos somewhere in town. So this project could reduce fly tripping illegal dumping effectively. In the last 2 years, we have operated by sending over 100 employees to collect big things in a community on Friday every week all over the city. Plastic bags are also a severe problem in Nakhon, being the plastic item generated in the largest quantity and entering waterways. The city recently started to target high-emission single-use plastic bags by assessing the availability of reusable bags to our community committees and introducing bans on lightweight plastic bags. From the UNSCAP report specified that littering was highlighted as the second largest emission source in Nakhon. The city already established comprehensive and target street sweeping to remove to remove any litter items and promote a clean living environment, the city also organized awareness campaigns around littering. The city ancient zone has been provide frequent evacuation at the agreed spot. Those spots have been provided at regular interval in streets where there are many pedestrians. A few years ago, I went with my family to Tokyo Disneyland, and we noticed that Disney sweepers walk around and sweep all the times. Suddenly, when I come back to my town, Nakhon Si Thammarat, I asked my staff to sweep as they do in Disneyland too. So right now we are keep doing that at all times, everywhere nearby the ancient wall of Nakhon Si Thammarat, and we do sweep too in front of all the schools in town. The city employs a team of 5 workers to clean up our canals every day. Yes, not enough. Only 5 people in town. We have 5 canals in town. So, but we try to build garbage traps, soon, and believe that there will at least a ton per day or more than that to be evacuated from the canals. We certainly need public participation by sending letters of invitation to our community's leaders to attend in the planning process and prioritize many projects in 3 years development plan. In the meeting, many people can come, so there is no maximum of number of people to attend the meeting. The municipal government has a program that addresses plastic waste and marine litter directly. Retaining costs of marine littering and microplastic in Nakhon Si Thammarat municipality were held by the city this year, which we actually campaigned to communities alongside Canal Bank in Nakhon Si Thammarat. In addition, there are 12 communities already sent their application to the local government for waste separation project. By this encouragement, the people, at least 2,400 households, will be involved with the city. The city will try our best to cooperate with these communities for public education and awareness. The city will play a key role in developing waste separation guideline, traditional Thai food. Also, I would like to say about like pad Thai, tom yum kung, green curry, mango with sticky rice, something like this are very famous in Thailand. And actually, Thai food is wet. We aim to get rid of these wet food scraps from the circle too. Waste separation at source have been applied with the policy that at least 10% of our restaurant in town would attend waste separation program. Bucket of food scraps correction carry out from several restaurants because we realize that more than 50% of waste is wet. It should not be brought up to the landfill, but it could be separated and used as animal feed. The city already did this pilot project, and we are going to expand this project too. The 3R campaigns already addressed to be active in the biggest fresh market in town. Recently, the other 9 markets will be invited to discuss with us too, so they could do the same thing by separating waste. Restaurants, markets, and other business enterprises will be encouraged by the city for waste separation and 3R initiative program more and more in the near future. Also, the city invited many private and public places to join our green projects: Green Temple, Green Market, Green Restaurant, Green Coffee Shop, and Green Hotel. These 5 criteria have been participated by 5 pilots already. Furthermore, the city has searched around the city where waste collectors live and work. For sure, most of them come out at night to collect valuable things from waste containers before this time. And now they still collect plastic bottles from those bags put at the provided spot because there is no container on the main road anymore. They cut, tear, and destroy the garbage bags. So it looks not clean in town. As a matter of fact, they have more difficult time to earn money from waste because the city itself strictly follow up waste collection. We therefore register waste collectors and scraps collectors and initially organize a training course in this coming December to provide knowledge about health and environmental protection. Nakhon is going to provide an annual health checkup and issue certification cards for those who complete training. At the end of the course, we will give a vest for each of them to wear while they are working at night. And to earn more money, we target to discuss with all big schools in town for waste separation program by these waste collectors, so they could be able to collect valuable waste from the schools. The municipality government has been using the existing municipal act on waste collection fee without any revision for more than 20 years, which does not cover waste management operation and also not aligned with the national act. This year, I already appointed a team of municipal act revision to be updated with the national act. So by this way, such waste management will be maintained properly by law. So we are still working hard on this matter. And the most important thing, we walk around in the town and campaigning, telling them to help us to solve all the problem of the waste in town. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, for sharing with us this good example from the Nakhon Samrat. So, and also I'm also very happy to hear that how you use the city plastic action plan into practice, linking it with the city development plans and the budget plans, because this is what we found in difficult in many cities or countries, how to implement these national city action plans, because otherwise it is just on the tables or somewhere it is not good. So to make it more implementation, so we need to integrate them into the city development plans and then also the city annual budget plan. So I'm very happy to hear that how you use this city action plan for the implementation, getting consensus from the public in the city. So thank you very much for sharing this presentation. So I hope you will wait in with us. So if any questions, so we will discuss later. So
Okay.
then let me go to the next presentation at the national level. So now we have the Vietnam with us. So I would like to invite Dr. Wu Ding Hieu, Vice Director, Vietnam Environmental and Marine Science Institute, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, to share with us their current activities with the National Action Plan on the plastic pollution in Vietnam. So Dr. Wu, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm very happy if keep 10 minutes because we need other speakers to give more time. So also thank you.
Okay. Yes. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Today I introduce some information about the current status of the plastic waste and solution to the reduce plastic waste in Vietnam. My presentation consists of the two main parts: the current status of plastic waste and solution to reduce in Vietnam. Firstly, we go to about the current status. According to the statistics since the 2018 in Vietnam, we produce about 0.76 of the garbage every day, of which 14 is plastic waste. Within the most of the 58 of the plastic waste is managed, and remaining 48% is not managed, which 42% is mismanaged and 2% remains nitrous, and 7% remains dump on land, and 28% open burning, and 5% leakage into the waterway. If you follow this trend that's been happened by 2013, then every year green bin discharges into the seas about 373,000 tons per year, double in the 2018. Since then, every year we have a survey, evaluated and statistics on the emissions. And here are the data of the three years. We see that the amount of the garbage emitted increasing every year from the 2018 to the 2021. However, in the 2021, we assessed emissions by regions. The Mekong Delta Central region in Vietnam, North Central region, and Highlands in the Vietnam, Southeast in Vietnam, and to which the city in the Vietnam, including the Hanoi and the Ho Chi Minh City. From this figure, we can see that there is a significant shift in the amount of the plastic waste emitted into the environment, and namely that the waste is still concentrated in the cultural areas, and the which city is the large quantities, and the mountain areas are less. But the total amount of the garbage is still steadily increases. January volume is about 8.235 tons per day. It's nearly the 3 million tons per year. We also calculated the amount of the plastic waste lost into the environment and the water environment through the lakes and the river dumped into the sea. Specifically, total loss to the environment about 0.6 million tons, and loss into the water environments is 1,220 tons per day, nearly the 0.08 million tons per year. The finger above shows the yellow. The finger above the south yellow to the environment, red line to the aquatic environment. It is also clear to us that the cultural area of the North Central and Central Coast and the Mekong Delta River are the largest emitters of the plastic waste into the sea. We also calculate the amount of the waste generated to each area and summarize the whole of the Vietnam as the follows. With the amount of the plastic waste generated are divided into the 3 parts, with the collectors classified recycling plastic waste in the landfill and treated appropriately. Lost to the environment because the time is not much, so there is no opportunity to talk about the detail about the calculating. But basically, we have quantified plastic waste at all stages from the emission to the state of final. What is the purpose of emission evaluation of plastic and calculations? Thus, looking forward to the National Action Plan on the marine plastic debris in the Vietnam, we announced this in the 2019. For that purpose, we offer the National Action Plan. Now, I summarize some key points. Firstly, about the specific objectives. By 2025, we reduce the plastic waste and collections by 50%, prevent the use of the single-use plastic products and the non-biodegradable plastic since the 80% of cultural tourist areas. By 2013, we reduced the plastic waste by the 75% and also reduced by the 100%. And finally, we assessing status every 5 years for the 11 main rivers and the 12 island beaches. And the purpose of solutions to reduce plastic waste in the Vietnam. That is also content of the second part of this presentation. To achieve that goal in the 2018 and 2019, we have come up with some solution. The first is about the control of plastic litter source, and the secondly about the education and training and collection classification. We also investigation and survey all of our countries. And finally, we focus on about international cooperation with the other country and the NGO. With that, preventing, controlling, and significantly reducing pollution of the marine environment, become a rational leader in the minimizing ocean plastic waste. In the 2021, we add more some solutions. We continue to add some detailed and comprehensive solution to the reduced plastic waste. With the 5 tools in the managing plastic and sonic waste, including the plastic waste to protect the environment, which as a group of the command and control tools. The secondly, group of the economic adjustments. The thirdly, a group of the technical tools. And finally, we group of the communication and educational tools and plastic life cycle policies. So far, the solution from the 2018 to the 2021 to now 2023 are still factors for the reducing plastic waste. But in the Vietnam, right now, also there are still some shortcomings that need to be overcome to reduce plastic waste in accordance with the national action plans, such as firstly about the preventions and reductions of plastic waste from the import, productions, and trade. The secondly about the recognitions of the Vietnam Green Label had not been widely disseminated. Next one is the classification of sonic waste, plastic waste after the due process. Moreover, collection and transportation of ordinary sonic waste, especially plastic waste, and waste treatments is very big problem. Recycling and reuse of plastic waste. Moreover, state management of apparatus to right now is not good. About the communication, education, and sanctions need to improve right now in Vietnam. And resources such as financial, science, technology for plastic and the plastic waste management activity need to also improve. And finally, the circular economy model along the plastic value chain. So that is the 10 point right now is plastic waste, a big problem in the Vietnam. We also share for everyone about this right now. And right now we need to improve some of the project. And that is my presentation today. So thank you so much for the attention and thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Wu, for sharing us with your experience in the National Action Plan in Vietnam. So I can understand. So there are some progress at the same time there is challenges. So, and your final one, circular economy, I think this is one of the main topic in whole this ICON solid waste management this year, how to make in circular economy to be implementable and practical way. So I think this is very important when we're looking at the plastic recycling and plastic waste management. So thank you very much. So then let me invite the Composted. So they are a local NGO working in Cambodia. So they're doing a lot of work at the local level to address the plastic pollution. So I would like to invite Ms. Sian Bopal, Deputy Director, to share their experience in working with local government in Cambodia to handle the plastic pollution. So Ms. Bopal, so please go ahead. Bopal. So Dr.
Thank you. Can you hear me? And can you see my slide presentation? First of all, thank you, Kumara, and also good afternoon, Dr. Co-organizer and organizer, and also everyone. Thank you for having me and also my organization in this fruitful meeting. Like Mr. Kumara mentioned, my name is Bopha, and I am a deputy director of a composite organization, which is the abbreviation of Environmental Education and Recycling Organization. So today I would like to present about the composite role in plastic reduction in Cambodia. Today I brought three main content which focus on the recycled organic waste into compost, and second is about clean up plastic waste in the Mekong River, and the third one is about strengthening PET bottle recycling in Cambodia. So Composite is a local non-government organization which starts in 1997, and we are mainly based in recycle organic waste because of we found that the amount of organic waste during that time it's really high percentage. It's around 70%. That's why we try to recycle it in order to reduce the impact of organic waste to the landfill, and also in to another type of waste composition. So we have experience in solid waste management 26 years already. But you know, in 2010 and also 2020, as you can see in my slide presentation, it showed that the plastic revolution is increased from year to year. Like in 1997, the amount of plastic waste is only 5%, and in 2010 it's increased to 15%, and also in 2022 it increased to 24%. So this make us pay attention to the plastic waste. So we start another activity by cleaning up the plastic waste along Mekong River. Like in 2022, we start in Kampong Cham, which is the municipality across the Mekong River as well. We implement like apply for to 5% to clean up or mean that to collect plastic waste along Mekong River 5 day per week with our boat, motorbike or tuk-tuk, and also collection tool, and also other machine like pressing machine, power generator, and dry drum. So the activity, the main, the aim or the objective of this project is we try to collect plastic waste from the river and its bank as much as possible, and also to provide awareness raising, and also we provide a separation bin to local authority, and also install at the permanent location like at the gas station, so the citizen or the student can bring their plastic waste to put in that separation bin. This is our activity that we collect the plastic waste from the river and its bank. So we got 3 to 5 tons per month. And among 3 to 5 tons, there are 2 to 3 tons plastic waste, and another waste, recyclable waste, organic waste, coconut, and also fishing net. Yep. So the way that we collect all the plastic waste, it is not focused on the river base, but also focus on the man base as well, or the land base as well, like from the market, which produce a lot of plastic waste, and we collect from the separation bin that we install in different gas station and also different location. So the activity of this project, we are not only collect the plastic waste, but we also separate it, clean, dry, and pressing those plastic waste, and then we transport it to the incinerator of the cement factory. On the other hand, we also provide awareness raising to among citizens and also the student. At least from 30 participants to 50%, 50 participants per time, and we provide this awareness raising 2 times per month. So another activity that we try to implement to reduce the amount of plastic waste to marine litter, it's about the strengthening PET bottle recycling in Cambodia. This activity, we try to collect all the PET bottle which lowest price, and the citizen don't want to keep it for selling. They threw it away because of the price of PET bottle is only 100 real to 200 real per kg. So we provide the high market price of PET to 1 1,000 real per kg. We hope that the citizen or the another generate source try to keep those PET bottle. And in this activity, we target to purchase PET around 100 tons from two target city in Phnom Penh and also in Battambang in 2023. Moreover, in this activity, we try to support the recycling process instead of import the PET bottle from abroad. I also would like to mention that in this, the strengthening PET recycling, this project or this activity supported by Coca-Cola Foundation through the ASI Foundation. So besides collecting or purchasing PET bottle, we also provide awareness raising to waste picker, waste buyer, and also the teacher, which we think that those people generate a lot of PET bottle, and also not only like waste picker, they can collect much amount of PET bottle. So we hope we can connect with them and try to help them in this recycling process. As you can see in the last picture, we also provide a separation bin to school to show them that this is the activity that we can involve in PET recycling by separate each type of waste. We also show the a model to the student and also to the citizen about clean up event, and also bring them to the recycling facility that to show them that PET is usable, we can recycle it, and to show them the whole process of recycling. Okay, so that's all for my presentation. You can check our activity more on our Facebook account or Facebook page, and also our website. Please, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bopa, for sharing your local actions in Cambodia. So I think one of your slides show how in Cambodia, so the importance of plastic is getting in the waste composition with the organic waste, because this is, I think, mostly similar trends even in the developing countries. It's still more organic waste is high in the composition, but the plastic composition is getting dramatically increasing. So I think this is the next presentation, maybe from OECD. So they are doing ASEAN +3 countries, the plastic data analysis, and then the Asia version of the plastic profile. So I would like to invite Dr. Ruben to share with us so their progress so far and how they look at in plastic pollution in ASEAN context. So Dr. Ruben, so floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Can you all hear me and see the presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Thanks. So good morning from Paris. It's a bit early still. I'll present today our work on plastics with developed global work on the global perspective, and now we are focusing on ASEAN plus 3 countries with the collaboration of IGES and AREA. In the past few years, we've published several publications, including a global plastics outlook in 2 volumes that looks at the plastics issue from different angles, but at the global level. And from that, we try to help the ANC process with providing information, data, and policy analysis, including also specifically on climate change and plastics pollution. And now for the latest INC treaty negotiations, a specific analysis on how to implement such policies that would eliminate plastic pollution by 2040. So building on this work, we've started working on ASEAN countries, and the goal is to provide similar analysis of the system-wide analysis of plastics. So what we did for the global analysis was to look at all the flows of plastics from production in blue to plastics use. So production, fossil fuel, bio-based as well as secondary plastics, how it evolves into plastic waste in yellow, and then recycling in green, and the various end of life including plastics in the environment in red. So that's what we're trying to model, and with the aim to quantify leakage of plastics into aquatic environments, both in rivers and lakes, and plastics in oceans. And we've quantified that the current stocks of plastics in rivers and lakes is about 140 megatons today, and that would grow over 500 megatons to over 500 megatons in 2060. Sorry. So we've made a lot of progress into modeling this and trying to quantify these trends in the future, and we are now applying that to ASEAN plus 3 countries. So I will present today 2 main issues. The first one will be policies in ASEAN plus 3 countries, and the second one will be the current status of data that we have and projections. So the first one is we look at policies and we separated them into 4 different policy levers to curb demand and design for circularity, which are more the upstream part of plastics use, and then more on the downstream part, enhancing recycling and closing leakage pathways. Of course, cleanup is the last resort solution, but for our policy analysis, we try to not focus on that. And for these policy levers, there are a variety of instruments that we consider. For instance, for curbing demand, there are mandatory reuse systems, phase outs, single-use plastic bans, for instance, taxes, regulations, removal of, for instance, fossil fuel subsidies. So this kind of instruments. For circularity, you probably all have heard of EPRs, recycling content standards, etc. And then, all the different policies to enhance recycling and closing leakage pathways. So those are the kind of policies that we consider. And at the ASEAN plus 3 countries, we've specifically made an inventory of all the policies targeting the whole of the plastics life cycle. So first, and I'm going to be talking about that now. The first thing is plastic policies have become priority in the region. So we've all heard from the various ASEAN countries right now, and it seems like there's a lot of effort going on. And this is against a situation that looks a bit difficult at the moment. So you can see that the darker the countries, on this map, the higher the share of mismanaged plastic waste as a total of plastic waste. So there's clearly an issue in many of these countries. However, there's against this negative situation, there's a very positive message that many countries, so 9 out of the 13 APT countries have published a national action plan for plastics. So those are the countries in green, and then the rest of the four remaining countries have a national action plan in under discussion. These action plans generally include both downstream policies for plastic waste management and recycling, and upstream policies for including bans, reduction plans, and fiscal measures. Sorry. Of course, this is in parallel with general improvement in waste management, which also impacts plastic waste. And the positive conclusion is that there are opportunities for enhanced policy action, and especially in this region where the potential for a circular economy transition is very high. While doing this stock take of the current situation and current policies, we first looked at the current national waste management infrastructure. In this table, you can see that the first 10 countries are the ASEAN countries, below the +3 countries, so China, Japan, and Korea. And the first thing that should strike you is that there are very different situation between the ASEAN countries and the +3 countries. For instance, the +3 countries are much more advanced. Korea currently collects 99% of highly segregated waste and has a variety of instruments implemented, volume-based collection fees, sustainable financing system for waste involving the local and central governments, the business through EPRs, as well as the households. However, the ASEAN countries are still have more work to do, but there are very interesting approaches that are put in place on top of the one we've just heard from the various speakers. For instance, in rural and remote areas, there are no new approaches being tried. Indonesia has developed decentralized waste banks to incentivize recycling through credits. So it's getting some traction, but it's not perfect yet. So there are still issues with participation rate and the financing mechanism that needs to be found. The second point I would like to make is that there are also significant heterogeneity within ASEAN countries, it's quite important, especially in terms of collection. But not only, it's also the case for the end-of-life fates. And this table shows that there is a need for an integrated policy interventions to close the plastic leakage pathways. So that's the first step that we did, was look at the current situation. The second step is to look at the policies that implemented in the ASEAN +3 region. We first looked at the policies aimed at the closing leakage pathways, and the main message is that there are some policies in place or planned, but they can be more strictly enforced, and that's across all of the different countries. For instance, there needs to be a few issues need to be addressed, like barriers relating to information, enforcement capacity, financing, and coordination are among the issues that needs to be addressed. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Following China's national sword policy, the plastic waste exports to Laos surged from multiplied by 15 about between 2018 and 2019. And because there are insufficient resources to enforce waste quality laws at the border, the increase has become a concern. And therefore, the government is suspending the creation of new recycling plants in the country. But these imports are still projected to grow. So these are one example of policies that are implemented but need to be improved along the way. Another example is in Malaysia, the waste segregation implementation law has been implemented in 6 states and 2 federal territories. So that's about 40% of the population. But in 2021, the segregated at source recyclable waste only made up for 0.14%, so less than 1% of total Malaysia's municipal solid waste. So there's clearly room for improvement on the way towards a more circular economy. Second, policies aimed at incentivizing recycling and sorting at source are still in the early stages. And that's, you can see here, there's a large part of the countries that are in the red zone, which is more where there's no policy implemented. That being said, EPR programs for packaging, for instance, are introduced in a number of countries, including Indonesia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Vietnam. So it's improving, but care should be taken by the government to ensure that there is enough participation and enforcement to produce results. Plastic packaging EPR programs are already well established in Japan and Korea, for instance. And third, advanced policy levers aimed at restraining plastic demand and design for circularity are very diverse and vary in stringency among the different countries. For instance, single-use plastic bans and reduction plans are the most popular lever in the region. 8 of the 13 APT countries have such instruments. For instance, Vietnam aims to entirely prohibit the production and import of single plastic use by 2030, I think. So that's the main instrument that has been discussed. Fiscal measures also are quite employed. For instance, to incentivize businesses to produce plastic alternatives and improve recycling facilities. So we were trying to really have a good overview of the different countries. So that's just the message in a nutshell, but we're refining this and giving more flesh to it. The second part of the presentation is more about plastic indicators and data. So the first thing I wanted to say is that based on the data that we found, which is sometimes very partial, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on data, improving or even synthesizing the data. That's a large part of our work right now. And especially since there are very heterogeneous situations across the different countries. I'll give you one example. Vietnam and the Philippines have roughly the same level of GDP per capita. But as you can see, they are in very different positions, both for plastics use per capita on the x-axis and plastics intensity of GDP on the y-axis. And the main reason is that their economies are completely different. Vietnam is much more oriented towards industry, which is about 2/3 of its economy, whereas the Philippines is much more oriented towards towards services, which is the largest part of its economy. So we're really trying to understand the data on plastics, what exact flows are there, but also what are the reasons for this various data differences in the countries. So behind the aggregate indicators, there's a lot of work on disaggregating the plastic flows, and we're looking at plastics consumption by the different application, the different polymers. So in the last 3 decades, the plastic use in the ASEAN +3 region has quadrupled from 38 megatons in 1990 to 149 megatons today. That's faster than the global pace, which is a bit more than a tripling. And it means that there's an increasing share of the region in plastics use.
Excuse me, sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But actually we have more sessions as per the schedule.
Okay,
And,
I'll finish.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So if we can conclude it.
Okay, can I have 1 more minute?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Please.
Yeah, so I'll pass on the details, but that's where a lot of the work is, and with unequal access and availability of data. And mismanaged plastic waste remains larger than recycled plastics in these countries. So I'll go very quick, but basically in Japan and Korea, there's mismanaged waste is marginal. It's still quite important in China and the higher income countries of the ASEAN, but it remains a very large part of total plastic waste in Indonesia and the lower middle income countries. In parallel, recycling remains quite small, between 9 and 13% of total plastic waste, but it's still higher than the global average. So these countries are doing better overall. And I'll finish with this slide. I would just wanted to give you an idea of what we're looking at in terms of projections for the APT region, and from a growth between 1990 and now, we're projecting, so those are preliminary results, but that China is still going to increase a lot by 2050, almost double. But the fastest growth will be in Indonesia, which is projected to triple its plastics use by 2050, and the lower middle income countries where it's projected to more than quadruple. So thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for being a bit over time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben, for sharing with us this information. I think this is very important. And this report is very important for ASEAN and plus countries to understand the plastic issue and think about how to address them in the future. So, okay, so I think most of all these PowerPoints we will share with the organizers, so you can get more information later. So now I have my 2 colleagues from IGS, so I want to ask them no time.
So if just once, I want to say, for the next 2 presentation, if we can stick to 10 minutes per presentation. Yes. So because we have a next session as well, so we need the wrap it up if it's possible.
Not 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, because they are IGS colleagues, so I can ask them to limit to 7. So please, Chocho and Yagata-san, please keep
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kumara-san. Thank you, the co-organizer. Today I'm going to present about the ASEAN region perspective on plastic waste, marine debris, and the focus will be on challenges and countermeasures. So just to give you a little bit background, so basically the IGES together with IDEA Consultant actually have been working on the strengthened capacity for marine debris reduction in ASEAN region through formulation of national action plan for ASEAN member state, an integrated land to sea policy approach, with the support from the Ministry of the Environment Japan and also the ASEAN Secretariat. So this presentation will be mainly about the stock taking of the regional training workshop that we conducted back in September this year. So with regard to the situation of the National Action Plan and Regional Action Plan development in ASEAN, you can see here that 6 countries out of the 10 countries are actually have already got their National Action Plan, while the other 4 countries are mainly namely Laos, PDR, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Brunei are still in the process of formulating the National Action Plan. So the ASEAN actually recognize the importance of plastic pollution. Therefore, the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris in the ASEAN member state for 2021 to 2025 was also developed and launched in 2021, that was led by the Thai government with the support from the World Bank. And the goal of the Regional Action Plan is to enhance coordination at the regional and international level for achieving sustainable management of coastal and marine environmental through responding and to marine plastic pollution. So this is like the 3 advanced plastic waste and marine debris initiatives in ASEAN, and this actually led by Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam. So I'm not going to go through details here, but as you can see that all of the countries have very ambitious target timeline, and also they have according to that, they actually been very active in coming up with action plans and also activities in order to address plastic pollution. From the stock taking that we had from the regional training workshop, we actually identify many challenges, but I will list some of them here simply because I could not list them all. So the first one is actually ambitious national action plan targets. As you know that some of the country actually set the target very high. So this is like a little bit unrealistic. So the countermeasure that was proposed during the training workshop was to set realistic and feasible goal along with appropriate indicator. Data harmonization and monitoring was also an issue, and also still the gap in ASEAN member states. So standardized framework with incorporation of local context should be considered. Next, capacity building and knowledge sharing. So this is still lacking in the ASEAN region. So the countermeasure is to open communication channel through existing and new platform. Another thing is coordination mechanism. So the countermeasure would be promote regional collaboration and coordination effort. And as you know that the local implementation is really important as they are responsible directly for the local solid waste management in countries. So it's really important for us to actually mobilize technical support and also financial support for this area as well. Last but not least, in terms of the challenges, legal consequences and the fine for non-compliant is still quite weak in ASEAN member states. So we need to strengthen enforcement mechanism. And as identified as one of the challenges, so basically there are several initiatives in the ASEAN region, but now I'm going to focus on the data focus, capacity building, and knowledge sharing. As you can see here, one of the initiatives which actually led by the ERIA is the establishment of the expert working group on marine plastic debris. So their focus involve many things, and that's also involve the policy-driven processes. And in addition to that, IGES also has been involving conducting a lot of knowledge sharing activity as well, namely G20 report, which my colleague will actually be discussing later on. And also building data on the plastic value chain in the ASEAN member state. This is a really useful publication. So if you are interested in the situation in ASEAN, then please check it out on our website. And then we also have collaborated with the World Bank in design their knowledge and partnership under the Southeast Asia Regional Program on Combating Marine Plastic, or ISWMAW. So this is also another platform that is currently going on. Last but not least, in terms of capacity building, we are in the process of summarizing the report that we organized in ASEAN in Bangkok in September. So this will be a very good resource in terms of understanding the ASEAN member states as well in terms of plastic pollution. For local implementation, this is one of the examples that we actually got the support from Asian Development Bank and also Google.org through the Asian Adventure Philanthropy Network to implement the project on Zero Plastic Waste Island in Thailand. So the project is still ongoing, and this is actually to support the local community, raise their awareness, and also help them, to generate income as well. Last but not least, so I think it's really important for us all to actually engage in the global negotiation platform due to many several challenges that I mentioned earlier, because this platform is actually, dedicated to many several areas. It will actually provide you the opportunity to, explore international cooperation, coordinated approach, understand transboundary issue, and also standardized policies, knowledge sharing, capacity building, monitoring, and evaluation, and also mobilizing financial support and raise global awareness as well. So I would encourage people in the room and online participants to actually try to get involved in this process. Thank you very much. And that's all for my presentation.
Thank you very much, Chocho. So let me ask Yagata-san to quickly summarize the G20 results.
Morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you can hear me. I'll try to quickly go through my presentation. So, so I'm going to talk about this G20 report on actions against marine plastic litter, the fifth information sharing. Since 2019, G20 presidency, in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment of Japan, has been issuing this report to capture the state of country responses against the marine plastic litter. And today I'll be touching on some key findings. So for this background, I think you can just visit the OECD's website to look up the report on the global plastic outlook. I just want to highlight that the plastic leakage into aquatic environment is projected to double from 22 megatons to 44 megatons. And as we are all aware, Asia-Pacific region occupies a significant share of the plastics produced, consumed, disposed of, and discharged to the environment in this global trend, and posing a significant challenge to the environment and possibly to human health as well. And in domestic context, in order to address these challenges, we need national strategies and action plan comprising a diverse range of policy interventions across the plastic value chain. So the NAP needs to be based on a comprehensive approach that addresses the full life cycle of plastics, and it needs to be evidence-based. with specific targets and milestones grounded in science. And also internationally, it is also important to promote mutual learning and exchange of information among countries to identify and disseminate the effective actions. G20 members recognize the increasing urgency to tackle this issue of marine litter. And at the G20 Marine Ministerial Meeting on Energy Transitions and Global Environment for Sustainable Growth in Karuizawa back in 2019, the G20 implementation framework for actions on marine plastic litter was established, and that was later endorsed by G20 leaders at the G20 Osaka Summit. And as a common global vision, the Osaka Blue Ocean Vision was shared by the leaders at the summit, and which aims to reduce additional pollution by marine plastic litter to zero by 2050 through a comprehensive life cycle approach. And so this G20 report has been issued as a follow-up to these previous proceeding processes. And thus far, we have 58 countries and 16 international organizations and NGOs have participated. This year, the report was jointly developed by India G20 presidency with the support of 2019 presidency, which is Japan, and ISWMAW, as well as the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management of India has been in a secretariat role. We have received responses from 30 countries and 10 international organizations and NGOs. So this is the list, but I can skip it. This is the structure of the report. Chapter 2 focuses on policy framework for marine plastic litter. 3 on measures and achievement. 4 challenges. 5 best practices. And for further information, we have a full country submissions from each country. And the entire report is around something like 400 and 500 pages. So it's quite a massive report, but you can also access this through website. So let me move on to some of the key findings. So national policy framework to address marine plastic litter is developed in increasing number of countries, paving the foundation for their measures. Out of 30 responses, 21 countries have national plans and strategies, and 27 countries have legislations on marine plastic litter. Development of strategies and legislations are also in progress in some of the countries, highlighted here as in orange bar. And for 6 countries have developed marine plastic litter specific indicators, and 4 countries are in the process of developing these indicators. In terms of upstream measures for prevention and reduction, many countries have implemented actions focusing on single-use plastics, with 22 countries introduced economic instruments such as charges or taxes, while 19 countries have introduced ban on the use of single-use plastics. And this ban on single-use plastics are also being prepared in 7 responding countries as of June this year. So we can see that a lot of countries are widely preferring a policy tool, this particular policy tool, at least in this sample of 30 countries. Majority of countries are taking stronger actions on downstream measures, including promoting environmentally sound waste management and cleanups. And I think I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to skip these slides. And for innovations and solutions, education and awareness, many countries are seeking and implementing actions for promoting innovative solutions to address marine plastic litter through public-private partnership. with many exploring alternative materials that can replace plastics. For monitoring and scientific research, 26 countries reporting activities for monitoring. However, there are a wide range of responses in terms of the level and scope of monitoring. Some countries are conducting a periodical, continuous, and systematic monitoring, while others are engaged in a research project on the plastic flaws and ocean surface microplastics with limited scope and coverage, etc. Despite some of the encouraging progress in the implementation, countries are also facing challenges broadly categorized into 3 areas. 1, data collection. 2, lack of waste management improvement, recycling systems. And 3, awareness of the stakeholders. And additionally, 40% of the countries identified the lack of financial incentives, while 43% of the countries stated the lack of technology development as challenges. These are some of the examples of newly reported efforts from countries, but let me just skip for the interest of time. So in summary, on policy legal framework, countries are increasingly adopting national strategies, action plans, legislations, but less on indicators. Countries tend to put more emphasis on downstream measures, and upstream measures may deserve more attention. However, I think it requires more aggregated analysis on the trend, since effective intervention is different from country to country. Some of the countries, such as Japan, with already strong waste management system, may focus more on the upstream measures. Some of the countries with weak waste management may focus on the strengthening waste management system. And for challenges, I just explained in my previous report, previous slide. So some questions are expansive in part to allow for more countries to respond, and we avoided assessing country efforts, and we focused more on collecting the ongoing practices. So as a result, the country responses are diverse in terms of the level of information, which made cross-country analysis a little bit difficult. Some important information is missing when that is aggregated. So disaggregated analysis can provide more relevant messages to each country. However, we trust that the full country reports in the Chapter 6 will be useful to understand the recent development in each country. And I think we also need evidence of how different policy interventions have yielded intended results, what actually worked and what did not work. So I think those are the summary. And before closing, I would like to inform that the full version of the 2013 report, 23 report, as well as the past reports are available on our website. So, and we plan to publish the final edition of the 2023 report later this year. So I think that's it. That's it for me.
So thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Jagata-san, for. I'm sorry, everybody. So this time management from my side also to keep it. Thank you very much again for every speakers. I think this session is very important to discuss importance of the implementation science-based policies at the national and local levels. But because even though my colleagues discuss about global treaty, but it is important to implement them at the national and local levels. So we discussed that in these sessions. So I will stop these sessions, giving big hands to every speakers.
Sir, hello. I would like to request every speaker to please turn on their camera for a group photograph.